that you have all your supplies gathered, we are going to begin with our cardboard and building up the foil circle, and we want to let that dry. So get your cardboard, a circle to trace, your scissors, and glue out. So when you find a circle, I just grab something from the cabinet that the kids have, and I want my circle to have a little bit of space along the side for some of the painting. We're gonna cut up until the line here for our weaving, and this is just gonna be the center for our mirror. So I'm going to, on my cardboard, trace a circle and cut it. Now that I have my cardboard circle cut out, I'm going to go around and glue patterns out of the cardboard and raise it up. If you have thicker cardboard from maybe like an Amazon box or something, this is just a cardboard from a container in the house, but if you have thicker cardboard, that'd be best to build up some texture to it. So my goal is I'm gonna cut out these little rectangles, pieces. I'm not worried about them being exact. And I'm gonna have my son have like a little sunburst in the middle. And around the perimeter of the circle here, I'm gonna build up these little lines. Just like that. And then to give it maybe even a little bit more, I could do a second piece on top if your cardboard's thin, and keep building from there. And so now I'm just gonna glue them on. Remember, just a dot, not a lot. Okay, now that I have my first layer of texture added, I really want to raise it up, and I am going to cut out some more rectangles and do it again. Okay, now that I have the centerpiece for my mirror and the cardboard and the texture, later on after this dries, we'll cover it with the foil, and hopefully when the foil goes in between here, we'll get some nice little texture for our mirror and some dimension. So I'm gonna let this dry and move on to the next step. Okay, for the next step, we're gonna paint our plate, and I have just some Crayola washable paint, whatever paint you have at home. I put some on a palette. You could put it on another plate if you have it. And we're just going to paint a design and cover all the white. Okay, so now my paper plate is dry and I have some different colored yarn, and I'm going to cut and stop at where you see this round line in the paper plate. So I'm cutting about 3, maybe 4 inches deep in there. And so I have that cut about, again, 3 inches. And I'm gonna cut about 3 to 2 fingers in space all the way around my plate. And what I'm creating is kind of like a loom, they call them. It's a structure where you can weave yarn. So now I've got all my lines cut, and I'm gonna start with my first color to weave through. And so I'm gonna get about an arm's length, 1 arm length, 2 arm length, 3 arms length, 4 arms length for my first set of green. And when I weave, what I wanna do is I'm gonna start by tucking the tail, I call it, of my string. And you could tape this down so it would help and not move. And you're going to do an over-under pattern. So I'm gonna go over one and then under the other. Over, under, over, under, over, under. And so I have a pattern that is repeating, and I'm just going to keep going around, over, under. With my green. Over, under. Okay, so now I have a little bit of the tail. Again, I'm gonna let that tail just kind of hang out in the end. I can tape those later. And I'm gonna repeat with a different color. This time I'm gonna get white. If you wanna do the same color, because that's what you have, that's fine. You're going to, again, get 1 from finger to forearm. 1, 2, 3, 4. And the length does not have to be exact. Cutting it, and this time, we're gonna do the opposite pattern. So this time, I want the over to cover on these ones. So getting my tail, sticking it behind the plate, and I'm starting with over, under, over, under, over, under. And then I'm gonna leave that tail in the end. Kind of push those down. And we're gonna continue with weaving. It's a lot of repetition for those of you that are sewing at home. It's sometimes relaxing. And we're just gonna keep going. So now we're gonna go back to the first one. Again, I can change color. I can stay with the same color and just do a green and white pattern. I could, if you want to plan ahead and make it checkered, I could do white and then green. I'm gonna mix it up with some purple. Again, measuring 1, 2, 3, and 4, I'm just gonna keep weaving over under this time, starting back with my beginning in the green, putting the tail behind, over under. So as we start building up all of our weaving and our yarn, it's important as a weaver to push down the yarn so it kind of stacks close and there's not gaps in between it. Okay. And now this time I'm gonna switch to yellow again, whatever color or yarn you have. You could even use ribbon if you had it at home. Again, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Starting with the white. Got my tail tucked, over under. So those are the colors I have. I'm gonna keep going and go back to where I started, which is green. Starting back at the green, get the tail tucked, over under. Okay, so as I'm weaving, you can see I've started the pattern of green, purple, green, and white, and yellow. So the next one I'll do is white, and then I'll have 3 and 3. Then from there I can decide if I want to build up one more. So getting my white, 1, 2, 3, 4. Starting with the yellow, get the tail, over under. Okay, so now you can really see the pattern now that I'm finished. I've got the 3 right here with the white, yellow, white, and the 3 here with the green, purple, green. You can continue on with your weaving as far as you would like. And when you're done with that, then we'll work on the centerpiece. Okay, so I ended up weaving it 4 times. I think that completes the pattern, and I did my white, yellow, green, purple. And I'm gonna flip it over now and take all these little tail pieces into the center of the plate, as many that will reach there, and I'm just gonna tape them down. Okay, all of my pieces are taped down, and now my plate is complete, or my sun. And so in Mexico, they have a lot of decorative art, a lot of folk art, a lot of colorful art, and a lot of times you'll see the sun. So you could leave it like this and draw the face of the sun. Also, sometimes they have really beautiful decorative mirrors. And so earlier when we made this cardboard piece, we're gonna cover it with foil and turn the center as a decorative mirror. And you could even draw in a Sharpie marker the face in here as a sun, or leave it as is. So there's a lot of things that we can do with this. Again, if you wanna just draw the sun and the face of the sun, and that's that, great. Right now what we're gonna do is we're gonna get that piece of cardboard that we built up the texture and foil. Okay, so I have my foil, I have my piece of cardboard. I'm gonna flip it upside down and cover the back, getting the foil flat and bringing out that circle shape. So kind of like wrapping a present or tucking it, getting those corners. So that's nice and flat with the circle shape. Now I'm gonna flip it over, and I have under here some of those cardboard shapes that I wanna pop out by gently rubbing and pressing in between them. I have to be gentle because I don't want the foil to rip. And again, if you had some thicker cardboard than I did, it'll probably pop up a little bit more. Can even be very careful and take an eraser. So I'm just taking the end of an eraser and kind of rubbing softly against the edges of the cardboard. Okay, so now I have my plate with my weaving, and I have my foil with the texture of the cardboard popping up. Using the eraser softly was a pretty good technique in getting the cardboard pieces to pop up. So I can glue it just like this and let that be the end, or if you have colored Sharpie markers, you can color those. Okay, so I'm gonna color this with the Sharpies. Mrs. Samsel loves Sharpies. I have quite the colorful collection. I got this big old collection kit at Costco. You could get them anywhere and use whatever you have. And I'm gonna color and add some fun patterns. Okay, now that I have my mirror design complete, I'm gonna use my Elmer's glue and glue it in the center. right, I did not use just a dot, I used a lot. Okay, so I was thinking as I was coloring this, it kind of reminded me as a frame. If you have your small school picture, you could put your school picture here, punch a hole and hang it. Like I said, earlier you could do the sun with it. There's so many different things you can do with this. I hope you had fun, and I hope you enjoy your month of May and Cinco de Mayo. And remember to stay creative, be respectful, be responsible, and be kind. We'll see you next time.